All right, everybody, welcome back. This is Project Karami, and this is the playthrough of Alpha Centauri. So in the last video, we kind of looked at a lot of the factions. Um, we chose the Spartans. Um, so the first thing I kind of want to do is go through a few of these menus, but not all of them, but just a few, just to kind of show you what's going on here. So the governments that were in the previous Civ game has been replaced by what's called the social engineering screen. And as we develop technologies, we're going to be able to choose various politics, various types of economic systems, various types of value systems, and at the end of the game, sort of a future society type of thing. Um, Now, the interesting thing here is that all of those other faction leaders that we talked about have one of these things that they really like, and they have one of these things that they really hate. And so that's where, you start to see conflict happen in the game. So for example, um, the Spartans value power, and that's going to be in the value section, and power is going to be one of these choices. They actually despise wealth. So anyone, if you're playing against the Spartans and you choose wealth as your value, they look at that as being, a lazy, decadent society, and you will find it almost impossible to maintain peaceful relations with them. Um, so everyone has, like I said, the one they dislike and the one they like. In addition, um, for example, so let's go ahead and tell you for values, their power, knowledge, and wealth. So while the Spartans hate wealth, they're also going to dislike knowledge to a lesser extent because that faction has not chosen power. So depending on who's on the map, um, you know, you may want to try to appease them by having similar um, politics, economics, or values, or you can honestly use them to sort of goad them into a war without hurting your reputation. Um, it's a little difficult to have long-term allies in this game. It's a little easier in the expansion pack with the addition of like 7 new factions, because there's more overlap as far as having multiple factions that value the same principles. Um, so as we go through and discover technologies, we'll be able to fill this in. In addition, as I said, since the Spartans, detest wealth as a value, that's not going to be an option for us to choose. Um, but everything else will be an option. Um, so there's that. We can jump into the city screen, and it's very similar to your typical city screen in a 4X game. Um, you'll see your sort of food situation going on here. So we're going to grow to another citizen in 20 turns. This shows our base facilities. We only have a headquarters so far. Um, and then a lot like food, trade, and shields and Civilization 2, we have nutrients, minerals, and energy, pretty self-explanatory. Um, so minerals, again, like the games that came before, depending on what your support value is, um, and we'll go over that later. Your bases will be able to support a certain amount of troops at no cost, and then they'll start to require minerals to maintain, and then energy. That's how much we're producing, and then this number right here is how much we're losing to what is essentially a corruption mechanic. Um, Up here, you can actually set your governor to, if you have a lot of bases, to kind of show, you know, uh, what you would like that governor to prioritize. So if you wanted the governor to prioritize Conqueror, he would do more military type units, base facilities, that kind of thing. We're going to go full control on everything. Um, Couple more things. Commerce, when you get treaties going, depending on your type of economic systems, you may be able to generate more, um, commerce per turn. This is going to show us the date. Every turn is 1 year in this game. Our energy is essentially our money, and then eco damage is pollution, which definitely can make a negative impact later in the game. And we've started, fortunately, with a free colony pod and a scout rover. So, um, so there we are. This is our mini map, so you can tell a lot of unexplored space here. And we'll look at some of these other menus as they become more relevant as we discover technology. So first things first is we want to kind of explore the area around us. Here you can see there's some data pods, and so we're definitely going to want to pop those because those are the equivalent of goodie huts. As far as what we're producing, and we'll go ahead and take a real quick look at at our science. So each faction starts with this particular technology. The Spartans start with doctrine mobility, which allows us to build the speeder in the command center and leads to a couple of other doctrines. Let's see. All right, cool. So let's just go ahead and start by looking at some of these pods. So the first one created a new mineral resource on this tile, which actually increased its, and you can see it increased its tile yield to 3, which is nice, because we'll build a mine on top of that. I'm not going to actually explore these with the colony pod in case mind worms come out, which is the equivalent of barbarians.
Pod recovered.
All right, so we got a network node. I'm sorry, a alien artifact. We're going to need a network node to unlock its secrets, but for now, we'll just move it into our base. And we'll start to make some colony pods and start to try to explore and get some bases
resources.
going. Finding a good spot for a second city is going to be pretty critical. All right, cool. So now we have the ability to start researching technology. And essentially, technology is in 4 different categories: discover, explore, build, and conquer. And, you know, the types of applications that you can get from them are sort of, you're intuitive to those categories. So there is an interesting thing early on where if you discover biogenetics and social psych and then discover the technology after them, which is secrets of the human brain, you can actually get a free technology. But it's very unlikely because that we'll be able to do that because the peacekeepers start with biogenetics and the believers start with social psych. And I believe the university starts with a free tech and an increased laboratory bonus. So there's virtually no way we're going to get this. So we're going to start by doing Centauri ecology. And this is typically what I'll start with every time. And this allows us to build a former. And the former has the ability to make adjustments to the terrain. So we can build farms, mines, what have you. Monoliths are going to be just ancient relics that are left over from some sort of progenitor. If you investigate them with a military unit, you actually get a increase to the level of your morale. Now, unlike, you know, Civilization 2, Civilization 1, where you just have regular and veteran status, there's multiple levels of morale in this game. So it starts with very green, which is, you know, are really just arming some random guys to come fight, all the way up to elite. And actually, some of those actually have elite plus, elite plus plus. They they give you more bonuses or negatives depending on what it is. So the one good thing about the Spartans is that they have very strong troops out the bat. So this isn't the greatest terrain, but again, because I'm going to be doing a forest approach, we'll go ahead and just go ahead and get this city down here just to go ahead and get it founded. And we'll get a defender in it as soon as possible. And we'll just keep exploring.
The planet's atmosphere, though a gasping death to humans and most animals, is paradise for earth plants. The high nitrate content of the soil and the rich yellow sunlight bring an abundant harvest wherever adjustments can be made for the unusual soil conditions. Lady Deidre Sky, The Comparative Biology of Planet.
So one thing I love about this game is the world building that Firaxis did to sort of make this game come alive. So every time you discover technology, every time you build a base facility, you're going to get a little blurb from one of the 7 faction leaders, from maybe their writings, their musings. Sometimes you have religious quotes, um, because there is sort of a pseudo-religious aspect to some of this game. Really cool stuff. So Centauri Ecology opens up a lot of good stuff early on. So as I said earlier, we get to use the former. The weather paradigm is the equivalent of a wonder of the world. So it's going to give us huge benefits to our faction if we can build it. And this is one of the strongest um, special projects in the entire game. And then it opens up a couple of other technologies. And it's really important for this strategy that we get down this explore pathway and get to things like, well, really what we need to get to is environmental economics. So it's sort of a blend between explore and build, but that's sort of where we're headed. Now, the coolest part of this game, in my opinion, is the unit design menu. So, and one thing I would actually want to do is go to the settings. We'll actually go ahead and get a new technology. We'll get social psych.
Please don't go.
And I want to
The
real
drones
quick
need
turn
you.
off
They look up to you.
auto building of units. Because it will just spam this thing full of crappy units. So this is a really awesome concept that this game kind of did, and it's sort of a lot like the unit designer in Master of Orion 2. But you have the different chassis, and then you have the weapons, or different kind of modules, shields, reactors, and special abilities. So we don't have a ton of stuff yet. I mean, it actually did auto-generate a former, so just to kind of show you. And as we go along, definitely going to be building some cool customizable units, and there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with it. So we'll go ahead. Fort Superiority's got a defender, and then we're going to switch to
Request
formers,
confirmation.
and we're going to buy that former.
Production complete.
And let's see, we'll head back and get another colony pod. So now that we have formers, we can do some very basic terraforming. So we can build farms, we can plant forests, we can build mines. Now for me, I'm going to start planting forests because number one, the Spartans are not very good at producing things. They actually get a negative to industry. So if we look over here at our society menu in the social engineering screen, you can see the starting malices and bonuses that we get. So the Spartans get +2 morale, and what that means is we get +1 morale or +2 on defense for all of our troops. And we get +1 police, which means that we can use up to 2 military units as police, so it's essentially martial law. The negative we have is that mineral costs are increased by 10%. So what that's essentially going to do is it's going to force our stuff to take a little bit longer to make. So we need to really prioritize the way we build these bases around industry to make up for that. Because if we can make up for this, we're going to have the ability to have some very strong troops. And then as we go through our politics and our economics and our values, I'm going to be doing things to increase support and stuff like that. So we'll see how it goes as it goes along. But first thing I'm going to do is look at we're currently working this tile. Again, you can use the rivers like roads, and then I'm going to hit Shift F and build a farm.
Indigenous life form.
Okay, so now we've hit the barbarians of the game, which are mind worms. A lot of times they're going to be hiding within what's called xenofungus, which is this pinkish, reddish blur on any of these tiles, and you can kind of put your cursor over them and it'll show you here that it's rocky and moist with xenofungus. Um, so we can attack him. Um, Unlike other units, this is just going to be a morale check, which is very good for the Spartans. Um, when you kill a mindworm, you actually get money, so you'll get credits based on its size. If, we'll go back to this screen, this screen is very important. If you have a positive planet rating, you actually have the ability to, and a percent chance to capture them. So there are strategies, and when I do my Alien Crossfire video, I'm actually going to play the planet Cult, and you can actually start to roll up a bunch of captured mindworms and do a very quick conquest. But we'll attack him and we'll see how it goes. And you can see my morale's strong, and that was a weak little guy, so we killed him, and we got 10 credits from killing him, which is pretty cool.
Insufficient energy.
If you can discover a better way of life than office holding for your future rulers, a well-governed city becomes a possibility. For only in such a state will those rule who are truly rich, not in gold, but in the wealth that makes happiness, a good and wise life. Plato, The Republic, data links.
And so, in addition, you have some actual quotes from some actual literary works from Earth's history. All right, so I am actually going to go down the biogenetics tree. So we're going to get biogenetics. Again, I'm trying to get to ecological engineering to be able to maximize the results I get from these forests we're going to be planting.
Terraform complete. Energy resources.
And basically, I'm just going to start building forests. All right, cool. So we've met our first other faction, which is the Gaians. This is really nice to see because they tend to be a little weaker. So this is going to be good as far as having a nice juicy target very close to us. So she says, well met, Colonel Santiago. I am now called Lady Deirdre, and act as the voice of the Gaians, whose intent is to guard, understand, and preserve planet's native life. I see you and your minions have flourished in this unforgiving world. So she wants to trade doctrine mobility for biogenetics, and we're absolutely going to do that.
We hold life to
And
be
we're going to trade maps as well, and we'll sign a treaty. And we'll see. So the diplomacy here is actually a little more robust. We can make proposals, so we can give a gift. We can see if they'll, join a pact. In this case, a sisterhood. We can see if they want to trade technology. We can see if there's other comm links for other factions. We can beg, or we can demand. And even within, so we'd say the urgent need of energy credits. There's multiple options. We could say we'll give them a loan and pay them back. We can just ask for it. We can put the ball at her court, or we can threaten her or try to sell data. I mean, I'm not going to threaten her on the, within 20 turns, because that's probably just going to lead to war. I am going to see if she has any more comm links, and she cut that off. So, this is interesting because now we actually do have maybe a chance to get the secrets of the human brain and get the first technology, the free technology from it. So I'm actually going to go with it. And the Peacekeepers. So the familiar face of Colonel Santiago. I, Brother Law, the Peacekeepers, offer greetings. Word of your accomplishments has spread since the time of Planetfall. You may be aware that I plan to defend the humanitarian principles of our original UN Charter. Do not attempt to interfere. So he's asking me for Centauri ecology. I'm not giving him anything for free. I just, as a general rule in these games, I'm not giving anybody anything. So we'll see if he'll give us applied physics. He says no. He backed off of his threat, but we'll see if he actually will trade. And he's not interested in giving me anything. Um, I'm just not giving Centauri ecology for 20-something credits. That's insane.
Terraform complete.
The other good thing about forests is the more you plant, the more they grow. So you can see over here, we actually had one grow. So that's going to be nice as far as...
There are only two ways in which we can
Alright,
account
well,
for this.
somehow I've managed to be the first one to discover secrets of the human brain. You know, it says, your researchers have discovered secrets of the human brain. The excitement of this discovery stimulates a burst of new research. So I'm going to be able to get any of these for free, and I'm definitely going to grab
Observe
Centauri
the
empathy.
racerbeak as it tends so carefully to the fungal blooms. Just the right bit from the yellow, then a swatch from the pink. Follow the glow mites as they gather and organize the fallen spores. What higher order guides their work? Mark my words, someone or something is managing the ecology of this planet. Lady Deirdre Sky, Planet Dreams.
Okay, so this is going to give us the ability to build another secret project, a base facility. It's going to allow us to build mine worms and give us a unit ability, and allows us to build or to get a new social engineering choice. So I'll go ahead and grab applied physics. Though I might see if Lau will trade that to me. Okay, we'll grab Doctrine
Production
Loyalty.
complete.
We'll see if Lau will maybe give that to us. So he definitely doesn't want to trade that to me. That's fine. We'll see if she does. She's offering 10 credits for Lau's comlink. I'm going to go ahead and do that because she's going to wind up getting it anyway. So they really are not going to give me anything. Alright, so let's go to social engineering, and you can see now we have two more choices. So fundamentalist politics, which actually came with Secrets of the Human Brain, and green economics that came with Centauri empathy. And again, each of these have different bonuses and malices that are going to start affecting these modifiers for our society. So fundamentalist, +1 morale, +2 probe, and -2 research. And you can see if you were to choose that, it would have an upheaval cost of 24 credits. We're actually not going to go with fundamentalism yet because of that massive research penalty, but this is something that at some point in the game we will be switching into. For economics, green is easily my favorite one. Even though we can't see them, the other two choices are free market and planned. As you can kind of tell from free market, that's going to be, you know, a capitalist system. Planned is going to be more of a socialist, government-controlled system, whereas green is going to focus on more protecting the planet. So I'm actually going to choose green off the bat. So you get a efficiency bonus, probably because there's less waste, recycling, what have you, and a positive planet bonus, which is going to start letting us capture some mine worms. It does, however, have a negative growth rate, but because we're building forests, we're going to have crappy growth anyway, and so I'm not too worried about it. So we're going to go with green, and it's going to cost us 24 energy, and we're going to do that. So the good part about that is that should start to help our relationship with Deirdre. So now you can see we have some more base facilities. The first base facility you're going to want to build in each base is going to be the recycling tank. So we're going to build some tanks here. And we're going to keep building this colony pod here. And Fort Superiority has got its former, so we're going to start we're going to keep building forests.
Complete.
Seems like this rat bastard over here has decided to plop a city down close to it, so I can go ahead and tell you that the Peacekeepers are going to be our first major So with our colony being size 1, we can't build our colony pod yet or it will disband the base. So we have to wait 2 more turns to get that colony pod out, which is no problem.
Terraform complete.
And wow, we're really getting hemmed in here. As you can
Terraform
see, she
complete.
has put this base here. No big deal, because we're going to go ahead and start to work.
Indigenous life forms. Production
Alright.
complete.
And as the combat does go pretty quickly, but you can see
Complete.
I defeated both of those mine worms. I did get money for the first one, but you only get money if you're attacking them. You do not get money if you are on the defense. So he's taking issue with the fact that I am in his territory, so I'll pop out. And when I build this base, it should actually take the top right of the Gaian and the bottom left of the Peacekeepers and expand my borders out to give me a little more room. And as you can see, I got more room. I'm just not going to make them very happy, but honestly, we're all starting very close together, and so it's just inevitable that there's going to be some conflict. But these are the 2 best ones to start next to because they are really typically pretty weak. I mean, I couldn't really imagine a better start here, so
Terraform
this is going to be
complete.
pretty awesome. As you can see, it's continuing to sprout forests. Alright, so this is a bit of a challenge here with Miriam. She's very strong in the hands of the AI. She wants to attack Zakharov. I'm not going to do that. But she does want to trade some things. So she's offering applied physics. I think I've already almost got that from regular research. I'm going to ask her for
Resources
industrial base,
exist
which
to be
she's going to give to
consumed,
me.
and consumed they will be. If not by this generation, then by some future. By what right does this forgotten future seek to deny us our birthright? None, I say. Let us take what is ours, chew and eat our fill. CEO Nwabude K. Morgan, The Ethics of Greed.
So we've seen Deidre's journal entries based on the protection of the planet. We can see that Morgan's view is completely different. He asks, what right does this forgotten future seek to deny us our birthright? So basically, we're going to consume what we can, and that future that doesn't even exist will be able to handle it whenever they get, whatever's passed down to them. So a huge diametric opposites here, and you can already see that Morgan and Deidre are not going to get along at all. So she's offering me applied physics for data on Centauri empathy. Unfortunately, I can't get back to the screen to see how close I am. I'm going to say no, and if I'm like 8 or 9 turns away, I will go back in here and try to trade it to her. We will do a treaty of friendship.
Therefore, a wise prince will seek means by which
Oh,
his
that's right. We
subjects-
did doctrine loyalty. So actually, let's go back in here with her, and we'll go ahead and make that trade. So we'll trade Centaur. We'll trade doctrine loyalty for
Scientific
applied
theories
physics,
are judged by the
and we'll trade secret to the human brain for her world map. So now we can kind of see that the map is starting to take place here. So you have the believers here. The UN is not in a good spot. The peacekeepers are probably, they're not in a good spot. We do see this colony pod here, and so we don't want to let her get too big. So I'm going to make my first big decision here and actually attack this pod. And what that's going to do is that's going to really hurt her ability to expand.
Terraform complete.
So we'll need to start getting some troops going here. So the first thing we can do is create a defensive unit. Since we got the technology industrial base, we can do some synth metal armor, which is going to be slightly stronger than the scout. And we can also, because we've gotten a couple special abilities, I want to go ahead and give them some defense versus PSI units. Those are going to be mine worms. And so these are going to be our base defenders from here. So they're going to be able to defend, you know, like no, they're not going to be able to roll a scout rover in and have 1-to-1 odds. Like this is going to destroy any basic hand weapon attack that might come our way and still give us the ability to defend against psi units. So that'll be the first thing. And then the second thing is we're just going to create a basic recon rover. So it's going to be attack 2, so a little bit stronger for skirmishing, for chasing down colony pods, for attacking formers, very basic type thing. So we'll do that. And we're going to switch to recycling tanks. Alright, cool. So we are at war with the believers. You can see here, periodically it'll show who's leading. So I actually have the lead in tech and military. So I'm feeling pretty good
Terraform complete.
about where I am at the moment.
Nutrient resources.
It is every citizen's final duty.
Okay, so we have some recycling tanks at Fort Superiority. So go ahead and build a recon rover.
Complete.
And one cool thing we can do is we can start to explore the fungus
Spot recovered.
and see if we can't find some mine worms.
Terraform
Because
complete.
we are +2 on planet, we do have an ability to possibly pick up some mine worms and really start to roll over some of these guys quickly.
Terraform complete.
So we can see a mine worm here. So we'll see if he tries to go toward Defiance Freehold. We can definitely try to attack him with our disciplined scout patrol there.
Enemy project
Which he did.
initiated.
So we will attack him with the scout patrol, and maybe we'll capture him. We did not, but we did get some money from
Production
him.
complete.
And I'm
Production
thinking just
complete.
some
Terraform complete.
a few recon rovers, and we might be able to do a quick sneak attack on these guys. And again, we'll try to capture this mine worm, and we did. Awesome.
Production complete.
I am going to do a couple of farms here just to get a little more food, because farms are going to be better for food than forests are. Just on areas that are wet, because they are going to generate more food. So we can actually take the scout rover and try to upgrade it into a recon rover
Terraform complete.
for 30 credits, which we're definitely going to do.
Terraform complete.
What you constantly want to be doing is trying to find ways of getting technology. So we're going to talk to her, and we'll start getting
Some
some of
biters
this
miss what is right.
technology.
He held his arm too stiffly.
Alright, so I'm actually create a pact with her because we have the same values. I think that's probably a good idea, and it'll keep me from having to defend you know, against an attack on this front. One other thing I want to do is actually, because we got doctrine loyalty, I want to switch to police state. And so what that's going to do is that's going to technically negate the efficiency benefit from green. Because if you took green off, you would see if you just have police state, you would actually have negative efficiency, which is really bad for your economy. So we're going to go with green, police state. So you do counteract the efficiency, but we get to support more troops. We get huge benefits to martial law, and we still have our planet bonus. So this police state green for the Spartans is a very powerful combination. We're going to be able to really have some cool stuff going here. So you can see she's got a recon rover here, which I'm going to attack, and pretty easy win.
Terraform complete.
And because our support
Production
value is up,
complete.
we can actually get a lot of rovers here. And because we're next to these monoliths, like I said, if you
Terraform
actually move your
complete.
guys to those monoliths, you can heal them as well as getting that initial promotion. But I think what I'm going to do is actually start to move toward New Jerusalem, which is the capital of the
Terraform
believers,
complete.
because we've got a pretty decent force coming here. She's demanding reparations. I mean, I'm definitely not going to pay that because I've got a lot of momentum here. On any rocky tile, we're going to do mines because you really can't build forests. Forests can expand to them,
Production
but you
complete.
can't actually build them there sort of on purpose. So we'll go ahead and build mines there, and that'll help with production. Relative power graph. So the Gaians are definitely the strongest, but you can tell by looking. I mean, she's got a lot of cities. You know, I'm somewhere, you know, decent. The hive is actually underperforming here, so that's actually a really good thing. For now, we'll just keep pressing this attack. So anything I can do early on to disrupt the economy, even if I can't finish them off, is going to be huge. So they've got this undefended former, and I'm going to take it out with this recon rover, no problem.
Terraform complete.
And so I just destroyed a believer laser infantry. And we're hurting them right now.
Terraform
So
complete.
we're just going to keep
Production
rolling guys
complete.
in.
Need not
So we're going to continue, like I said, we're going to continue moving toward getting to ecological engineering. So gene splicing is the next logical step. Because we're in an early
Terraform
war,
complete.
I'm just going to keep prioritizing attacking. And so we have really just run through her defenses pretty easily. If you see the size, city size, it doesn't have the associated color behind it, that means the city is undefended. And when you take a city that's undefended, it heals your unit. So we're going to actually take with this unit because he's more damaged. And we have achieved the first conquest on the planet. We'll switch this to some transcendent metal garrisons, and we'll pile everybody in.
Enemy project
And
initiated.
really defend that hard early on.
Improvement already exists.
I feel like we're probably okay on military troops for right now. So we'll go ahead and switch. And we'll start to do some stuff for research to help us out.
Terraform complete.
Because I feel like after destroying their capital, I should be able to finish her off. And they're going to be tough because he's actually got, as you can see, perimeter defenses around his bases, so he might be a little tougher. And we're not going to attack him right away anyway. Early warfare in this game can really put you at a major advantage if you can pull it off right. And having those mine worms, that helped me. Because the other thing is that, you know, they're going to actually have their best defender automatically go up against your attacker. So if they have a couple of, say, laser squads that are, one of them's green and one of them is commando, that commando is going to attack first. So having that strong mine worm unit against, you know, a relatively weak morale troop is going to be huge. So you can see at the bottom here, these are all the troops we've moved into this space. So we're actually going to go ahead and press our advantage and attack the Rapture. So she's begging for... so she's offering to swear a pact to serve me. So this would basically make her my vassal the entire game. normally I would do this, but because I actually need the territory, I'm just going to go ahead and end her. So as you can see, we're just going to rip through her. So you can see the power of the early attack.
Exists.
That's it. The believers have been destroyed. And we'll have a quick animation of me torturing Miriam. Alright guys, well, that's a pretty good spot to end this video. We've taken the believers. We've got a nice pact of sisterhood with the Gaians. And I think the Peacekeepers are now going to be sort of where we focus next. But I hope you enjoyed the video. There's a lot going on here, but definitely a good start. So hope you enjoyed, and see you next time.